embrace innovative volunteerism. Rise up. You and me are the solution to this challenge.
Welcome to the Mindset Spot. Today is another edition inspiring one another, so that at least we can be able to address the challenges that faces people of all ages, young and old. Challenges are disguised opportunity. The changing climate provides an opportunity, but if we see it through the negativity lens or the adversity lens, we may be missing an opportunity. So, in a nutshell, to feed the entire world, we must be able to address the aspects that are not only about production, but more about adding value to what we produce and avert the losses that are causing 1/3 of the food that is produced to go to wastage and losses.
Leadership is taking responsibility to do right and to do the right thing and become an example. And the first person each and every one of us must lead is ourselves. So in critical thinking, we must focus on devising ways to solve the challenges and turn them to opportunities rather than listening to naysayers. You will notice that the biggest thing you can ever do to yourself is to avail yourself, because your ability is your availability.
The power of innovative volunteerism is transforming lives, transforming societies, mobilizing youth, empowering them, inspiring them, and ushering them to climate action. This is the power of innovative volunteerism. Youth empowerment, youth transformation, taking action, climate action into their hands, and turning climate action into a business. Climate action is an investment opportunity. It really is a solution to socio-economic challenges.
Welcome, everyone, and thank you for tuning in to this Mindset Spot, where today we're going to discuss mindset change to drive transformational development. And for those of you who are tuning in today, I will start off with a cursor, which is today my thoughts reflected my youthful days. And I recall some of the random statements my mother would consistently mention to my siblings and myself as I grew up in the village, like most Africans do. And one fact about my village life that a child would understand is that a child is a child of everyone. That means when your parents sent you to the shops or to fetch water, on the way, you are likely to meet other parents who may equally task you, and you can't say no. But whenever I would tell my mom this, her response was always consistent. When you grow old, you will realize how much they appreciate your help. They are not as strong as you are, and where you would take 1 minute to go and come, they will take 10 minutes. So just put yourself in their shoes and do as they sent you. I think this consistent response is shaped by values and thinking. And now, as I've grown older, I appreciate this very fundamental lesson that my mother taught me, putting myself in other people's shoes. This brings me to the point which I want to have a conversation with you all today, which is to succeed in anything we do. The core has to be putting ourselves in the potential recipient's shoes, because people are the market, people are the clientele. To write a book that connects, a successful writer must always put themselves in the targeted reader's shoes, regardless of the topic. A good car builder must put themselves in the driver's and passenger's shoes to develop a marketable car. We must therefore put ourselves in the shoes of many people, and we must always ask this question: what the policymakers will need to be able to put forward the most optimal policies that will make work for the people easier. And among the answers is empirical evidence of success, starting from our communities, because Africa is an informal setting. Africa is not Europe, Africa is not the United States of America. Africa have a very unique setting. And anytime we imagine a solution, it must fit within that setting. And that is a mistake that many of us, especially young people, seem sometimes to miss. Try to compare Africa to Europe and to the United States. No, it doesn't. Because the point is this, let's face it, you must only compete from a position of strength and understanding contextual realities of where we come from, what our mothers and brothers and sisters in communities need, should always be our driving factor, which means then anything we devise solutions must be to respond to their immediate needs. Because if we miss that, then we are not going to go further in addressing the realities of now. And therefore, we must always ask ourselves what the informal sector that engages up to 90% of Africans today need to actualize their aspirations, especially aspirations of enterprise growth. And mothers in communities who every morning fry what is called akra in my village, Jinquin, in the northwestern part of Cameroon, or gateau, as they will call it. In some places, they will call it mandazi in East Africa, like they do in Kenya, or chapati. These are realities that define the informal sector. And we cannot be able to shift away from this because we studied in England or because we studied abroad. No. Fundamentals are non-negotiable. If you tell a hungry child that you gave him or her food yesterday, that child is hungry at the moment. And that child needs food. And so the point I'm trying to discuss this today is that we cannot forget our intrinsic fundamentals and pretend as if we can use alternative solutions to address what might not be fitting to the reality, which is contextual reality. And so today, what I wanted to bring is that the solutions to address challenges in informal sector must be aligned to reality. The answers must be based on evidence of success. And we must always ask ourselves what the informal sector that engages over 90% of Africans need to actualize to make sure that their aspirations of enterprise growth can be achieved. And the answer is direct engagement to ensure that they do get to inform more targeted policy incentives that facilitate growth to grow and expand their enterprises. That's what they need. They're not asking or waiting for handouts. They just want that extra momentum, right? That extra support in terms of policy, in terms of access to finance, in terms of access to inputs, organic inputs for agricultural production, access to affordable, clean cooking stoves, accessible, affordable, clean solar power irrigation to irrigate their farms, solar power fridges to be able to preserve their food, solar dryers to be able to dry their food. These are simple climate action solutions that these communities do need. And anytime we miss this, then we're missing at almost about 70 to 80% of the population of the continent. And so we must put ourselves in the shoes of our young people as well. Because the reality today is that we must put ourselves in the shoes of our young people who form over 60% of the continent's population. Because to make a meaningful impact, we cannot ignore our youth. Africa's youth are Africa's powerhouse. I've argued this everywhere I've had the opportunity to do, in boardrooms, in policy spaces, and I will continue to do that because we cannot be able to achieve the sustainable development goals and ensure that no one is left behind without engaging our young people. It's just as simple as that. And therefore, we have young people who make over 60% of the continent population. So to make any meaningful impact, we must engage them, whether we like it or not. And among the answers is that young people need to be facilitated and engaged. Did you hear that? Young people need to be facilitated and engaged as solution providers. And the answer is that for them to be engaged as solution providers, we must always understand that we cannot make them to be recipients of benevolence. We can never make young people to be recipients of benevolence. We must make them to be engaged as solutions providers. Because if we make them to be recipients of benevolence, we are destroying these amazing, talented, energetic, passionate, entrepreneurial young people. So we must make them to be solution providers so they can apply their abilities to participate productively in nation and continental and global solutions phase. That's my belief. And that's the essence of innovative volunteerism. On this note of young people, we should distinguish their wants, which are to drive the sometimes just wanting to drive a big Mercedes. There's nothing wrong with that, okay? Do what you can do and get an opportunity to do that. But the point I'm making here today is that young people must be told the truth, right? Not half truths. We should distinguish between wants and needs. If you want something, then you need to do something to get to what you want, right? So what it means is, if you want to drive a biggest Mercedes, then do something that can then help you to build that gravitas and generate the revenue to get that. And therefore, we must be able then to make sure that needs and wants are differentiated. If you want something, then you need to do something. Build your skill, retool your skill, and then start to generate value, and that value will bring you opportunity. That's what we need today. And so these are the building blocks of accelerating collective progress in driving transformational climate action development in the continent. I just thought I should put this in perspective before we can then be able to move forward. And this is really great. I can see comments already here, and I'll get to these comments. I'm going to bring, I'm just bringing in Daniel Munang now, and thank you all for bringing in these comments. I can see here Yuvin Crispin said, Father of Innovative Volunteering, thank you very much for joining in. Daniel Munang has just joined and as a co-host of this amazing Mindset Sport show. Daniel, welcome. How have you been?
I've been good since the last time we were on the show, which was exactly a week ago. So yeah, I've been fine.
Excellent, amazing stuff. Then we can see Ambassador Michael saying greetings from Manafwa district in eastern Uganda. Welcome, Ambassador. It's a great pleasure to have you. Then we have Brian here who's saying, hi everyone, how can I join in this amazing program? Of course, please drop your email. You'll be invited to participate in this program. Of course, you're already participating. And thank you very much for joining in. Yes, I really appreciate Daniel, you joining in as the co-host of this amazing program. So what can you tell our viewers who are already watching and commenting about this Mindset Sport? What does it mean? What does it entail to those who are watching from across the entire world?
So if you're currently watching this, I want to say hey and thank you for streaming in. And to know that innovative volunteerism isn't only for me, it isn't only for Dr. Manang, and it isn't only for you. It's for everybody. And through passion, everybody is an innovative volunteer if you're retooling your skills to solve environmental challenges across the continent and across the world.
Excellent, and that is amazing. Thank you for that synopsis. So, what would you today? We're going to discuss a very fundamental aspect, which we started last time, and I think that today it's important for us to continue on that, which is that yes, this is a mentorship tool. The Mindset Sport is where we debug, speak truth to power, tell it as it is, and of course, people ask questions. Please, colleagues. Friends who are watching across the entire world, please submit your questions, and definitely we are going to answer them. So, Daniel, this is a discussion today that is going to take a different shape. So, but it will build on what we did last time. So, last time you were talking about digital footprint. I think it aroused a lot of interest. A lot of people wanted to understand. Right, you don't need to get into the fundamentals. And I can see Natalia here saying innovative volunteerism is wonderful and amazing, all that you do. Thank you very much, Natalia. I appreciate and thanks for your positive inputs. I see you follow me in every platform and you repost what I post. So thank you very much from the bottom of my heart. Thank you for being an amazing, wonderful fan. I appreciate. So, Daniel, what I want us to discuss at the moment is that you last time made a very important point that what we live, the internet is a beautiful thing that has ever happened to humankind, and the information we live in cyberspace will haunt us in a good or bad way. And so, what I want us to build today is that for young people who are listening in today, how should they use the internet for their own good, not for anything that will come to harm them later on? What do you think is the best advice to give them? And being a co-host of this amazing show, what do you have to say?
Oh, okay, yeah, thanks for the question. And for the viewer, thank you for watching. So, what I would say to the youth who are exploring social media, and what I'd say to them includes that just be smart. It's not that hard. Do you have to be posting informative content every single day? No. But I think that if you are abusing people on the internet, number one, that's not a good step. And number two, if your page is full of like negativity and like hate speech, whether you know it or not, that's also not a good thing. So there's no specific rules, just be smart. Like, it's not that hard. Just be internet savvy and be internet smart. Just think in the next 10 years, would you really want your employer to see that? And if the answer is no, anything but yes, I guess that's a better way to say it. If the answer is anything but yes, then don't post it.
Yes, that's that. Don't post it. That's true, but they still post it. So, what are they risking as they move forward? Over to you, Afu.
Yeah. So what I think is that, oh yeah, thanks for the guidance. But I think that through innovative volunteerism, it allows you to have a head start with your social media career. Because through innovative volunteerism, it's a mindset tool. So once you have utilized the mindset tool, everything switches up. You become a better person intellectually, you become a better person socially, you make change environmentally. So innovative volunteerism is just a win-win situation. And the question I have for you, Dr. Manang, is number one, do you run your own social media account? And number two, what would you say to the young people starting out in social media? And what do you say about the digital footprint?
Excellent. I do run my social media account myself. Firstly, for two reasons. First is I want a narrative that is consistent, and only you can be able to drive your vision. That's what I keep telling young people. If you are so passionate about something, no one else can do it for you. You must be out there inspiring people and being authentic and being persistent and consistent. So I do run that. So your second question is,
Oh, you want me to repeat myself? Oh, so it's similar to what you asked me. What would you tell the young people regarding social media?
I think I've said that, but let me repeat it again.
Yeah,
Not
repeat it.
sounding
We
like
have people joining every second, and I think that
excellent.
would be nice for them to hear, not only from me but from you.
Absolutely. So this is the point. What you do today, anything you do, regardless of whether it is on social media or not, matters. And social media becomes more important because the footprint you leave there doesn't disappear. Just you can delete your account, but it doesn't matter. People will still be able to pick it up when they Google your name. It will bring that up. And so my advice to young people is communicate solutions. Do not communicate problems. Do not try to abuse people, and do not try to think that you need to get 5 minutes of fame to be popular. Popularity, I've always argued, is nothing. What matters is solutions, because then you become popular without knowing. And then people will flock to you always. And then you will have people making you popular, not you making yourself popular. And today what we tend to see is that everybody wants to trend, right? Trend on Twitter, on LinkedIn, on Instagram, on TikTok. But trending for what? For wrong reasons most of the time. The nudity, sometimes abusing people, then they clap. But unfortunately, that doesn't last forever. And the second aspect is that it's very difficult to remain on top. The most difficult aspect is to be the best always, because that entails hard work, that entails being conscious of your environment and of reality, and working harder to bring something that is innovative and creative. And that needs dedication, effort, and self-discipline. And that's what I've learned. So you will notice that young people need to cultivate the attitude of self-discipline. They need to be assertive, of course, ask questions to learn and be corrected, but at the same time, be dedicated and put in effort to learn more. But do not communicate negativity. It will come back to haunt you. Negative situation presents an opportunity for you to provide solutions. If you see somebody who complains every day, that person is complaining because maybe he's never met a person who doesn't complain. So provide an alternative and give solutions, not complaining, so that you can see that there is a benchmark that you can become. Over.
Yeah, excellent point. And I'm pretty sure some of the viewers are wondering, how does innovative volunteerism link to social media? I will start to answer this question for you because I'm also the co-host. So, innovative volunteerism linked to social media because innovative volunteerism is a driving tool that allows you to turn challenges into an opportunity. And on social media, many people are presenting their challenges. So, it's a tool for you to market the solution you have created through those challenges, and eventually you will trend as you're providing value, but you're not forcing people to make you like trendy, number one. And number two, it's an opportunity for you to create economic gain, as through that people will start seeing you, people want to sponsor you. And I think that through that, it links to social media, as innovative volunteerism is turning challenges into an opportunity, and social media is marketing the opportunities and solutions you have to the challenges. And I think I just answered the question for you.
Yeah, you did. And another dimension of innovative volunteerism is that um, when we were growing up and we had nothing, when I say we had nothing, is we grew up in a family that was poor. Yes, poverty is not just the absence of finance, but it's also the absence of accessing basic necessities. Having shoes to go to school was a problem. And at the same time, it became very clear that we were not going to have food some days because there was drought in our mother's farm. But when you look back at all these things, why I'm giving this perspective is that you will never have everything in life. That's the truth. You will never have everything in life. For those of you who are listening, please hear this very well. You will never have everything in life. And what does that mean? That then means you have to work with what you have to get what you don't have. And that's the essence of innovative volunteerism. Learn a skill. You get up in the morning, you complain. That means time. If you have urgency, not agency, urgency to do something, an agency to do something, then that means that you are privileged. And what social media has done is that it's provided opportunity for people to communicate ideas. But we choose in most of the time to communicate complaints, and that dissuades and dissipates energy. So going back to my point again, because of my background that I grew up having nothing in terms of opportunities as others did, then I recognize that you can only get what you don't have by using what you have. And what you have is yourself. What you have is your passion. What you have is your skill, is your talent that you can now add effort to learn a skill, whether it is sewing or carpentry, to learn how to fabricate solar dryers or to turn waste to briquettes, and then you become relevant from a solutions perspective. That way, you start to build a portfolio that can be related to touching lives and at the same time bringing value to community. That is the essence of innovative volunteerism, using passion to turn to profits, turning talent to skill by applying effort and being available. And I will buttress on this word availability. Being available is important. There are people who are there, but they are never available. What do I mean? Available for solutions. Available for solutions. Like there is this show, very few people will sign it, others will not because they would rather choose something different, which is important, and that's okay. But just to say being available to learn, being available to sacrifice time to learn, being available to ensure that at least you can be able to add value and contribute to nation building, continent building, and building the world and making sure that no one is left behind. Over to you, Afo.
Yeah, excellent question. And moving away from social media, as we've spoken about it a lot, and moving towards our new topic, which is going to be the value of time. What do you say to the people, the viewers watching, who say that, for example, like they want to do innovative volunteerism, but they quote unquote, because money is time as well. So we're not only going to be talking about the 24 hours in a day, we will also be talking about different aspects of time. So, what do you say to the viewers who want to do innovative volunteerism, but quote unquote don't have funds to start? What do you have to say about that?
Good. Your question have two parts. There is time and then there's money. But time is money. That's the beauty of it, right? Time is money. And if time is money, then we must utilize our time to do what can give us money. And if we can utilize our time to do what can give us money, then we should be able to prioritize time. But the question then is, we hear the word African time. There's nothing like African time. Everyone, whether you're prime minister, president, governors, it doesn't matter. Everybody have 24 hours a day. But sometimes we use time as if we have more hours than others. And then a meeting that starts at 9 starts at 12 o'clock in the name of African time. No, don't worry. They come now. Now African time with the youth. So meeting we get for start for 9 o'clock. It goes start for 12. Now African time. And I think those kind of stereotypes and narratives have made people to think that they have more time than others. But today, those of you who are listening, please, there's nothing like African time. We have 24 hours a day. And those 24 hours a day, 1 hour is 60 minutes. And 1 minute is 60 seconds. So if you multiply 60 by 60, you have 3,600 seconds. If you multiply by 24 hours a day, you have 884,600 seconds. If you multiply by 360 days, you have about 1.2 million seconds in a year. So everybody is a millionaire. So the difference is this: you become valuable by using your time. And so when you don't use your time, you are losing money and you are losing opportunities. You get that? So if you don't use your time, you're losing money, you are losing opportunities. And if you use your time only to entertain friends, you are losing opportunities for your own self. If you use your time only to think that you can have fun, as they say, and not building value for yourself, that fun will end, you will run out of money, you will still need resources. But unfortunately, value brings opportunity. That's it. And now your second question, which is money, is that you can only get money by offering value. And value comes as a result of you building it. And you build it by availing yourself and becoming passionate to sacrifice short-term pain, sacrifice for short-term pain to build long-term gain. So if you do not get up from morning early to learn a skill, or use your weekends to learn a skill, to learn sewing, to read, nobody's going to read for you. And then you will not have a skill, you will not understand. So if you make apparels and you are doing sewing, you do designs, you have to get up in the morning, voluntarily volunteer yourself to read and start to design different designs of clothing that you want to sew. If you don't do it, nobody will do it for you. And therefore, if you don't sew it to market yourself to someone that, look, this is a dress I've sewn and I want you to buy it. The person says, oh, wow, so you can sew. I love it. But if you didn't do it, what will be showing people? So value brings money. We should never, ever say we don't have money to start, because that's a false narrative. We should say, this is what we are doing, and we did it without anything, and we need support to do more. People will listen to you. If not, you will be marketing yourself as a trouble asset. And you know trouble asset, nobody wants to be associated with trouble assets, because they bring trouble. They bring wahala. Over.
So why did it seem like during the African time part, you were so passionate about it? As it seemed like you have been a victim of African time before. But alongside that, why is it that African time, why there's no such thing as European time or no such thing as North American time? Why is it only African time?
I think I use a word called false narratives. And I think one of the essence of this show, which is a mindset change sport, is to change mindsets. There's been a continuous, let me put it this way, there's been continuous allowance for things that are not supposed to happen and being allowed to be set and allowed to happen. And because no one has come up to say enough, then it's perpetuated, and over time it's become the norm. And that means abnormality have been normalized. And normalizing abnormality is not good at all, and we have to debunk that. And therefore, using words like African time is an abnormality and should never be normalized, because everybody have got 24 hours a day and 365 or 366 days a year. How you use your time, your seconds, your minutes determines how valuable you can become. And the essence of innovative volunteerism is for everyone to use his or her time productively so that they can offer value to society as they turn their passion into profits and turn challenges into opportunities. And therefore, because African time has been normalized and has been made a norm, people see it as normal. And so what we're doing in the mindset sport is to tell people, look, enough. There's nothing like African time. You're losing opportunities, and that will make you not to be valuable. And when you're not valuable, you become a trouble asset. Over. I can see Maxé Desailly. Let me just read. Maxé Desailly says, value brings opportunities and opportunities bring money, but value is not transferable. Each must sacrifice. Be ready for short-term pain, for long-term gain, big time, Doc. Thank you very much, Maxé Desailly. Your comments are always very, very important. And this time now, after reading Maxé Desailly, we're going to take a break. And when we come back, guys, it's going to be hot because we are debunking the abnormality that has been normalized in the continent. African time, and Daniel Munang is leading with this discussion. Thank you, Daniel. We'll be right back.
See you.
Let's embrace innovative volunteerism. Let's go.
Today is a beautiful day in a continent that have got nearly everything, but the changing climate is already redefining the contours of this continent. From droughts in the Sahel to the Horn of Africa, to floods manifested through cyclones that have impacted millions. But the African continent, under the changing climate, tells us one thing, that Africa is a continent that is too rich to be poor. Human capital outweighs financial capital. It outweighs material wealth. With human capital, you can be able to get material wealth. But with material wealth, you cannot be able to get human capital. Your skills, your dedication and passion cannot be bought with money. The inspiration and the passion is what is needed to be able to drive this transformational change. I carry with it everywhere I go that to be able to find your purpose, it doesn't need money, it needs passion. To be able to find your purpose, it doesn't need money, it needs inspiration. To be able to find your purpose, it doesn't need money, it needs determination. And sometimes taking risks, because the biggest risk is not taking risks. Each and every day, I've got 24 hours. Every minute, it takes 60 seconds for a minute and 60 minutes for 1 hour. So each and every one of us here have 31 million seconds and above. That means we are all millionaires here. You're all millionaires. What that tells you is that you are in control of your time. You can utilize your time to volunteer for something useful. You can utilize your time to do things that are retrogressive. But how you use your time determines how you can be able to be successful. And that is the essence of innovative volunteerism, injecting your skills along the entire agro value chain, utilizing your talents, utilizing your initiative to be able to bridge gaps, but moving towards a direction that can be able to lift others from the bottom of the pyramid. This is the essence of innovative volunteerism. And this calls for a paradigm shift. It's a paradigm shift that is premised on collectivism, not individualism. It's a paradigm shift that is premised on selflessness, not selfishness. It's a paradigm shift that is premised on hopefulness, not hopelessness. It's a paradigm shift that is premised on complementarity, not silo actions.
A paradigm shift that is premised on commitment, not disloyalty. A paradigm shift that is premised on leveraging on our skills, our talents, existing initiatives, the energy, especially of the youth, the commitment and passion, because this represents human capital, which is priceless. It outweighs financial capital, and leveraging on this can truly drive transformational change for people and planet. These are the essence of innovative volunteerism. Innovative volunteerism can bring the continent together and tap into each and every one's skill, because the power of innovative volunteerism is what can make Africa work. This is the true genius.
This is the true genius, and that is innovative volunteerism. Welcome back, colleagues and friends who are watching from across the world. If you are in here, you are on the Mindset Sport, changing minds and inspiring people to usher themselves to action. Before we went on break, we were talking about African time. Afu, over.
Yes, we were talking about African time and how throughout the 7 continents of the world, why is it that we run on African time rather than those who are in different continents? And I think Dr. Munen can answer that better than I can, as he has been on this continent for 43 years. Yeah.
Well, I was born in the northwestern part of Cameroon, and very proudly so, a proud African, proud roots village boy, as I call myself. Grew up, went to school without shoes, and today discussing issues that we need to change. And the answer goes back to what I said earlier. Normalizing abnormality and making it look as if it's normal is a false narrative. And so we're debunking the fact that there is nothing like African time. Everybody have 24 hours a day. If you do not utilize your 24 hours, you'll be 24 hours deficit. And the next day you'll be poorer in terms of value, in terms of skill, in terms of what you can offer. And what innovative volunteerism set us to do is to inspire people to know that every minute matters, that you must learn a skill. Even if you have a full-time job, that is not a skill that you cannot learn. You must diversify and have multiplicity of skills, because the challenges we face, environmental challenges, climate change, COVID came and showed us, if you are not diversified, you will be out of your job, and you might not be able to have an opportunity to put food on the table and money in your pocket. So learning a new skill is an opportunity. And that can only come when you start to value time and know that we have 24 hours a day, not the African time that makes us if we have 365 hours a day, which is a false narrative, a fallacy, and a lie. So the reason why this has been the case is because when it was spoken, people were not rising up to say enough. There is nothing like African time. And so that is what we are saying today to the young people across the world and in the African continent. Utilize your time, because your time is your money. But time is money when you start to use it to learn a skill, to turn your talent into skills and add effort to that skill to achieve results in communities. And forget the attitude that you have to rise alone. It doesn't work. If you do not do something to touch people's lives, you will not be able to sustain your popularity. For those of you who want popularity, is the most difficult thing to have, because it diminishes very quickly when people don't start to see the value you offer. Let people be the ones to praise you. Do good work, and good work always bring excellent results, and people will appreciate it. It takes time to build value. You can build value in a day. It takes time to build value. What I've learned in my life is you have to start small while thinking big, and put in your best effort every day to achieve something that is bigger than you. And that must be tied to purpose. What is purpose? Purpose is usefulness, and the purpose of life is to be useful. And what should you be useful for? Devising solutions to the challenges we face. Over.
Yes, so we have a question that just popped in, / a comment, and I think you should pull that up and I'll answer it. Okay. There's a popular saying about Africa that says Hakuna Matata. This is a Swahili statement meaning no problem. What is the contribution of flawed culture to confining Africa to African time? Okay, Marshall Desai, that's a very bold statement. And
Very bold indeed, right? Bold statements are welcome.
yes, we accept different levels of boldness. And to answer that question, the saying Hakuna Matata, which was also popularized by Lion King. Also, I think that it contributes to Africa's time and lack of punctuality, because no problem. So it just means just go with the flow, move on with life. Which, although that is true, it allows behavior that should not be normalized, you know, to be accepted and deemed as okay because Hakuna
Yeah.
Matata. And Dr. Maleng, do you have anything else to add on to that?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, you see, the point is the question again is there's a kuna matata problem no day. It's they say wahala no day, wahala no day, problem no day. So make no worry. When is the meeting? Don't worry now. Problem no day. Look, this is a big problem. The truth is that if you want to know whether people are using their time effectively or not, then look at where they are. Look at the challenges they face. We cannot talk about poverty every year as if it is normal. It's abnormal. And normalizing abnormality is a crime. When we know what we need to do, food insecurity, over 257 million people going to bed hungry. When we know what to do, solar dryers to help mothers to dry their food, not being talked about. Solar fridges to be able to ensure that at least mothers can preserve their vegetables, not talked about. And then anytime, no, don't worry, no problem. There is a problem. So today we're using this opportunity to debunk this mentality that when we normalize abnormality, we give way to continuous abnormal behavior and abnormal things to continuously happen. Not having food to feed a kid is abnormal. Not having electricity to light a home is abnormal. Not having a job, especially by youth who are graduating from university, and they're supposed to be guided to retool their skills to create opportunities for themselves with a multiplicity of challenges. Learn a skill to turn agricultural waste to briquettes, learn a skill to fabricate a solar dryer. When they are not told that, and they're told that you have time, that's abnormal. So what's the point? Hakuna Matata should be banished from the perspective of saying, no, don't worry. No, we should worry. Everybody who goes to bed tonight should worry that we have 257 million citizens who are going to bed hungry. Everybody who goes to bed tonight should worry that we have over 620 million Africans who are energy impoverished. Anybody who goes to bed tonight should worry that we have over 920 million Africans who use unclean cooking systems. Everybody who goes to bed tonight should worry that 12 million youth, over 12 million of them are getting to the labor market without jobs. That's a ticking time bomb. The word Hakuna Matata, wahala no day, problem no day, na abnormality, where them they talk. And in English, it's an abnormality that must stop. Over.
Yeah, excellent answer. I think that you are correct, because there are many people across the continent who are victims, actually, because of how chronic this is, how chronic the saying Hakuna Matata is. And not only that, across the African continent, in Northern Africa it's called Halas, in West Africa it's called Wahala No Day, in Southern and East Africa it's called Hakuna Matata. So it's across the continent, and I think that through mindset change tools with innovative volunteerism, it will change the mindset of many Africans. And notice how innovative volunteerism, like a 5-in-1 shampoo, it fits for everything. It fits for challenges regarding time, challenges regarding social media. So when in doubt, do innovative volunteerism. Okay, on to the next question. So, what do you think of the drought going on in Eastern Africa, in the Horn of Africa, and what do you think we can do to prevent droughts like this, as the world is getting hotter and there is less precipitation falling in areas that generally don't have a lot of precipitation? And this is especially shown in the Horn of Africa. So, what are you doing, and what do you think one should do in order to minimize the effects of climate change?
Good question, Afu. Thank you for that question. The truth is this. Let me start from this perspective. The world is facing the avalanche of the changed climate because climate has already changed and it keeps changing. We're speaking today in Florida. They are suffering Hurricane Ian. Millions of people have been evacuated. Property has been destroyed. We saw heat waves in Europe and we've seen flooding in China. So the world is battered by climate change coming after COVID. And then the barrage or the cyclone of war that we see with Russia and Ukraine. Why am I putting this in perspective? Africa have contributed least to the emissions, but Africa is suffering the most. Horn of Africa droughts, a contribution, drought used to come in the 80s, one drought after 10 years. Nowadays, a drought after every year. And the science links to climate change to both charging and supercharging these events. Now that said, what needs to be done? That's the question. Everybody needs to play a part. There is an attitude sometimes that governments are the only ones to play a part. Of course, government is instrumental. They create the enabling environment, provide the physical incentives, put the policies in place so that at least ordinary citizens like you and me can be able to leverage. But what needs to be done in the Horn of Africa is three things. The first is the drought-prone areas where people, most of them, are pastoral communities. Their cattle, they've lost their cattle, and that cattle actually represented their livelihoods. Therefore, the first thing to do is to ensure that at least they are provided alternatives. And those alternatives should be social safety nets so that at least they can cushion themselves currently now because they're hungry, they don't have money, they don't have opportunity, they don't have a place to stay. Their livelihood has disappeared. The second is droughts now that have become the norm. What needs to be done? Diversification becomes the key. How does that become the key? First of all, most of the animals that most of these communities have got, they die and get wasted. Can solar dryers be decentralized and young people engaged to fabricate them so that at least they can dry the animals and actually use the solar dryer to dry the animals and sell them off, put money in their pocket before they die off? That's an alternative. The third is most of the pastoral communities do slaughter their cattle. Can government actually, because they cannot be able to afford a community solar dryer, work with cooperatives in these communities that are drought prone to then be able to access the solar dryer through a cooperative so that it's a communal cooperative that many people can use, and it also helps to ensure traceability and accountability. Put in money so that at least they can then be able to use that communal solar dryer through cooperatives, and then the community start to maintain the solar dryer after government has invested. So the point is that where there is need for heavy capital upfront investment, government should come in, but it must be community owned to ensure maintenance. And the last aspect is that young people should see drought and climate challenges as disguised opportunity and start to think alternatives, solar dryers, solar fridges, learning skills to devise them. That's the essence of innovative volunteerism. Because when we leave everything to government, government is not an implementer. Implementers are ordinary citizens, but they leverage on enabling environment and do what they can do. And then when there are gaps, they should then ask government to be able to fill those gaps with policy incentives. Over.
Yeah, excellent answer. And I think that you are correct, as through these cooperatives across the continent, which are quite popular, they can be leveraged to foster solutions such as
Afumbom, let me just put up some very interesting write-ups. I think we have Dan Wills here, who is a very big fan of mine, like everybody who is watching in here today. He says we are live, and then he said greetings from Cameroon. That's fine. Then Natalie, a big fan of mine, she is a wonderful big fan, says everyone throughout the world should be open to all the cultures and countries and help those that need help and make everyone in the world, make the world have a better place. Innovative volunteerism is a great way to make this world a better place. Yes, it is. Thank you, Natalie. And so many people around the world need to be part of this wonderful initiative. Indeed, and thank you for promoting this. Then I think Maxed Desailly says you should read that, Afu.
Okay. Absolutely, doctor. And the problem with Africa is normalizing abnormality. Hashtag innovative volunteerism is the inoculation we need. Absolutely.
Preach, Mercedes Aye. And then we have Nini Befi watching from Minnesota. You are doing well. Why not? Thank you very much. Nini Befi is a big fan of ours. She's in Minnesota and she's always tuned in, and she even asks people, hey, follow Dr. Mnang on YouTube. And thank you very much. Thanks all of you who are watching today. We just play our
Y'all
part.
are real ones.
Yes. Afu, proceed.
Okay. So moving on to the final few questions of the show. What do you think about those who say that innovative volunteerism, like the reason why we're involved in innovative volunteerism, they think that we're getting paid to do this show? We are not sponsored. Hashtag sponsored, but we are not sponsored. So what do you say to the people who say that, oh, you can only say you're doing innovative volunteerism because you're the deputy director, or she can only say she's doing innovative volunteerism because through nepotism? But no, innovative volunteerism is one of the few tools that work across the continent that do not involve nepotism. And what do you have to say about nepotism?
The truth is that you need to learn three things. Everybody listening, please listen to this very carefully. If you want to bring innovations, be ready to be misunderstood, because innovations are disruptive. If you want to be on the same pathway in which everybody is on, then that's normality. Abnormality being normalized. Disruptions are innovative. And people will say whatever thing they want to say. And if you want to listen to what people say, then you never make progress. The truth is that you must be able to do right and stand tall and be ready to be criticized in the process. But at the end of the day, when things create solutions, when what you're doing creates solutions that can benefit everybody will flock to it. That's one. Two, I have written a book for free, downloadable on www.richardmonang.com for free, explaining the process of innovative volunteerism, using my life story of how I went to school and won a scholarship, using the experience of me volunteering to study in Nottingham University, later on going to Harvard University. And that is to give back to society. That's part of my own innovative volunteerism, right? Using my own experience, documenting it so that others can learn. The third is,
but are you saying that those, if you're looking for resources, you're able to find them if you search hard enough? There are opportunities and resources, whether free or not. If you search deep enough, you're able to find them.
The reality is, everyone, especially living now in 2022, is richer than those who lived in 1990s and the 80s. Why? Opportunities are everywhere. The internet and the fact that you have Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn.
You heard that, guys. Carpe diem. Seize the day.
It's an opportunity. Absolutely. Preach, as you say.
Carpe diem.
And preach boldly, right? Yeah. So the point is, because there are so many opportunities, people are not using it. And what I have learned throughout my life is that human beings operate optimally when they're under duress. When they're under duress with limited opportunities, they perform the best. And when they are given everything, they tend to ignore and not perform the best. Because there are so many opportunities today, there tend to be some laxity. Instagram is used to abuse people. Twitter is used to abuse people. But some people are using it to make businesses, to market what they're doing. And they're becoming billionaires today. That means everything you need as a resource is in your hands. And it is up to you to sacrifice, endure short-term pain to develop value, to retool your skills and start adding value and become useful. Because the truth is this: if you do not volunteer for something useful, you will volunteer for something useless. There's no in between. If you want to sleep long hours, okay, be prepared to be deficient in value, and that is not going to bring you opportunity. If you want to sacrifice to sleep less hours and work harder and learn a skill, That means you are acquiring value, and value that's dividend will be useful in community and society. Over.
Exactly. I don't know why my camera just went off, but yes, exactly. I think that I agree with what you said. Excellent answer, Father. And I think that through innovative volunteerism, those opportunities are visible. And even in the invisible, in times where you think that there are no opportunities, there are hidden, but you just got to find them. And before we end and we wrap this
Yeah, I
up,
think there
I have
is
a
a
comment
Mercedes.
from Marcel Desailly.
Yeah, you read it.
Climate change is a global emergency, and as you know, countries in the north are battered just as countries in the south. But what we see is the way out is local challenge solution to local challenges. Exactly. Preach. And I think that this is 110% correct, because the challenges that may be faced in a village in Central Africa are not the same challenges that somebody in London, England faces. And the solution to the challenges faced in, let's say, Rotterdam, Netherlands, are going to be solved differently from the challenges, the solutions made from challenges from a village in Northern Cameroon. They're completely different approaches, which is totally fine because they're completely different challenges. But however, what I think is what is setting Africa back is that we're trying to implement Western challenges to our Western solutions to our challenges. And I'll let you take it from that.
This is the point. Fundamentals are non-negotiable. Let me start from there. Fundamentals are non-negotiable. If you tell a hungry child that you gave him food yesterday, that means nothing to that child. That child needs food now. He or she needs food now. What does this mean? A hungry child in Africa needs food now. The setting of Africa is different from the setting of other continents. Facts. I mean, these are the truth. Africa's population is 1.4 billion almost today. Out of this 1.4 billion, over 70% is rural, informal. I said over 70% is rural and informal. That's the data we have. That then means you can only be able to address the challenges using contextual reality. Let me give an example. My mother lives in the village of Jinquin in the northwestern part of Cameroon where I grew up. Her issue is not a heavy machinery plying her farm, is to dry her vegetables so that it can survive over a month or two. Her issue is to ensure that at least it can be able to dry her cassava. So if you are bringing heavy machinery to plow her farm, how is that a match to her reality? That's a mismatch. So mismatching solutions to the realities of contextual, situational realities of now is a fallacy. Therefore means we need to do four things. First, listen to the people and understand their problems. Two, understand what they're already doing so that we can bridge the gaps. Three, don't give handouts because that perpetuates dependency. Benevolence destroys. It doesn't build gravitas. Four, allow them to be guided as they build on what they know so that sustainability can take center stage. Thank you. Over.
Yeah, exactly. You worded it very nicely, Father, and saying that, for example, a local mother in the village does not need $400,000 worth of machinery to plow her plants and to till the soil. What she rather needs is things to, to mitigate the post-harvest losses that she may be facing after harvesting her crops, which is incredibly correct. And we also have another comment from Marcel Desailly that I'd like you to pull up. I'll read it again. Timeless statement, doctor. See, you got many fans. It's not about looking for money, but looking for opportunities to deliver value in solving challenges. And I'd like you, since it's directed to you, to answer that question and to answer the statement, rather.
Yeah, well, it's a timeless statement, and it is not about looking for money, but looking for opportunities to deliver value in solving challenges. Yes, beautiful aspect is bringing up, but to solve challenges, you need a skill, you need to offer value. So let me say, mothers are using charcoal, right? Over 920 million Africans are using unclean cooking, almost getting to 1 billion citizens. We know the challenge. Charcoal, destroying our forests, inflicting lung diseases, respiratory diseases, choking and killing over 700,000 Africans every year. We know, right? Because we know doesn't mean that we will solve the problem. To solve the problem means we need to usher ourselves to action. Voluntarily volunteer ourselves to learn a skill, to start turning waste to briquettes to replace charcoal. That it means challenges are disguised opportunities, but we can always seize the opportunity when we avail ourselves, because your biggest ability is your availability. Let me repeat, your biggest ability is your availability. Availability to learn a skill, availability to solve a problem, availability not to complain, availability to inspire, availability to say, yes, I understand the problem. Yes, I am humbled by the problem. Yes, I will do it because it's the right thing to do. Over.
Excellent work, Dr. Menang. So for one of my last questions to you would be, what do you say to people who are forcing their passions onto others? Do you think a passion should truly be on what the individual wants? And can you manage your passion with other things, including school, athletics, arts? Do you think innovative volunteerism is possible to be managed with sports and school and can still take priority?
Let me answer this question by starting with an African proverb, which goes that a fly that doesn't listen to advice follow the corpse into the grave. Let me repeat it. A fly that doesn't listen to advice follows the corpse into the grave. Another African proverb goes that it takes a village to raise a child, which means you might know what you know, but experience from mothers, fathers, brothers, and sisters, because they've passed through it, might be used to help you. Not necessarily because what you are trying to do was wrong, but because it will derail you in the long run. What am I trying to put here? I'm trying to bring the perspective of mentorship. Advice is like a stranger. That's an African proverb. It stays when accepted, and it disappears when it is not welcome. And therefore, for young people out there, the fact that you like something doesn't necessarily mean that it's the right thing. I see a lot of them love going to nightclubs. That's okay, that's their business. They like to jump to music, forget school, not even focus on studies, trying to learn how to dance music. Okay, good for you. Some want to play basketball. They want to even forget studies and leave everything and want to focus on basketball. Good for you. But unfortunately, what an old man can see while sitting down, a young man or a young woman cannot see while standing up. An African proverb. Wisdom triumphs. And so when somebody guides and mentors a young person using his or her experiences, that becomes important because he or she have gone through pathways that have shown him or her what is right and what is wrong. And therefore, passion cannot be a word. Passion is a flame that should be injected to what is right. And sometimes that's why mentors are important. Because when people, one can be passionate in playing football. I'm 43 years old and I say, oh, I'm so passionate in playing football. At 43, playing football. To go where? To go and play in Chelsea or in Manchester. Please, let's be
Don't
honest.
They retire at like 35?
Huh?
Don't they retire at like 35?
What did you say?
Don't they retire at like 35?
That's absolutely so. What I'm trying to say is that could be passion, but it's wrongly directed. And somebody needs to say, enough, Baba. Enough, Mama. No, you know they do this thing where they do, and so you know go well. You know the worker. So the point is that young people need mentorship. so that the passion can be directed to something that can help them, to innovative volunteerism, build value, and look at the gaps in society and fill the gap. You cannot be Ronaldo today or Messi when you are not a footballer. You just want to do it. And people misplace passion with some kind of self-drive to do something just because others are doing in the name of passion. No, that is called imitation. Imitation is not passion. Because somebody is doing it, you want to do it, you say, I'm very passionate. No, passion should be tied to solving a problem that touches many people's life. How does playing basketball touch many people's life when somebody, or how does playing football? Just say it's a sport. I want to exercise. Not that it's passion. Passion must be tied to a solution that touches other people's life beyond yourself. If you are doing sewing like you do, that's passion to fix people's dresses so that they can look good. If you're doing hair like mother does, so that people can look good, that's her passion. And she does it dedicatedly, and I really love the way she does it. Mother, you do well. So that is what I'm saying. So what I'm trying to conclude with is we need to understand young people need to be guided so that their passion is not misdirected. And that misdirection of passion is imitation, and sometimes feels internally as if it's passion, but it's not passion. Passion comes also with pain. Working hard to devise solutions, staying long hours to devise solutions to touch a problem, solve a problem in the community is passion combined with genuineness. Over. Let me read what Marcel Desailly has said. You read it.
Okay. This is the Timeless Show, Doctor. A respiratory where anybody who spends a few hours to turn in will end up the wiser. Be it youth, informal sector, corporates, policy actors, name it.
Perfect.
Excellent.
Yes, we need to start writing down now.
Yes, we will. You didn't quite answer the question. You never answered the question, which
so is. What was the question again then? What was the question
was, can you do both? Can you balance academics, innovative volunteerism, and other interests one may have?
This is the point. I think I answered the question, but more elaborately beyond just the question. Now let me narrow it down now to your question. You can do everything you want to do, but the question should always be, is doing equals to what can make you better in the future? Because the future is created as a result of what you do today. So if I wanted to be an environmentalist and I started focusing on things that were not related to environment, how would I have become an excellent environmentalist today? That's the question. So the thing is, you cannot be everywhere and think that you will make a perfect product at the end of the day. You will not. I would have loved, look, that's a very important question, Afu, that you've asked. Great job, daughter. That is, the point is this. You must be able to focus your energy to what you can maximize and collectively drive impactful solutions. I loved to be a medical doctor. I love to be an engineer. But you can't be everything. The thing is, you focus your effort and you get maximum. So it's like investment, right? If you put in more money in investment, you will get a higher dividend. But if you want to spread everything thin everywhere where you don't even understand what is happening, you will lose everything. To your answer, yes, focus on academics and focus on innovative volunteerism. You can do sports when you can, but you can't want to be 100% sports, want to be 100% academics, want to be 100% innovative volunteerism. It's possible, but you dissipate your energy and you cannot. It will be very difficult for you to be very focused because distractions do matter. And focus takes self-discipline, endurance, dedication, and selfless effort to build and be the best in whatever thing you want to do, but with a connection to touching lives in communities.
Excellent answer. So to the people watching, yes, you can do all three. However, will it get hard? Yes. And for most people, it'll become very hard to manage, and you'll end up becoming crap. Oh, I shouldn't say that. You'll end up becoming bad in all three aspects. So I think that yes, if you think you can do it, you can do it, as Dr. Manang said. However, it's important to focus on the things that'll add value.
Excellent. Let's take a break and then we'll come back with summarize, and then the show will end. Thanks for those of you who are listening, and thank you very much, Daniel Afumbong Munang. You are amazing. You are doing wonderful work. Now, let's take a break.
volunteerism. Away, as he go. Rise up. You and me are the solution to these challenges. Oh yeah. Rise up. You and me are the solution to these challenges. Oh yeah. Innovative and volunteerism, food security and youth unemployment, climate actions and selfless solutions. These are things that we need to engage for. When I lift up my eyes, I see people still living in affliction. Mothers and children go to bed without food on their table. Youth unemployment, the biggest statistic. From headlines every in Africa. Climate change impact us in everywhere, whether it's flood or drought.
Yes, and here we're back. Yes, we are back, and I think there is a comment from Mark said this. Here we see have Michael. This is really educative. Michael, thank you for joining in. Yes, howdy, buddy. You there fine? Now, which side you join? Please, when you join in, indicate where you are joining from so we can know. I've read what Mark said this is saying.
Okay. What the old can see while seated, the young cannot see even when standing. Excellent quote, Marcel Desailly. Now to continue. Passion in the young must be redirected to unlock value, and this is where mentorship comes in. I'll take it from here. So absolutely, I agree. Yes, passion must be redirected. However, that does not mean you shouldn't engage in other aspects, as you must be a well-rounded person. As you saw my dad and I playing basketball a few months back.
Actually, you are teaching me, right?
Yeah, and I play competitive basketball as well. So I think that, and I still do innovative volunteerism, but don't let that distract you. Like, I'm not gonna wake up one day and say I'm going to the WNBA, but
absolutely,
because what value does that really add? Although I love basketball, we gotta look in the long run. Am I gonna go to the WNBA? Probably not, but it's also good to be a well-rounded person, but have your focus, which for me is academics and innovative volunteerism.
Yeah, I think you've made a very good point, Afu. Well, this is my understanding. I'm using my life lessons. There is you can only make impact on something that you've spent a lot of time on it, understand it, and give your best. That is why today you will notice me speak food security, speak about issues that I've understood and work hard around them for over 13 years. You cannot be everywhere. So the word well-rounded, I don't understand what well-rounded is. Well-roundedness to me is, first of all, understanding social issues, understanding economic issues, and understanding environmental issues. We call it the three-legged legs of a stool, three-legged stool. Let me explain it as we're running up. The first is attitude. When you are humble, you are loyal, you are respectful to your parents and to people in the community. You are ambitious, at the same time passionate and knowing exactly what you want to do. That's already a pathway to success. The second is the ability to be able to have an open mind, to be teachable. Being teachable is a big asset. A lot of people are not teachable. Anytime they have an opinion, it is their opinion. You go against it with ideas. No, it's my opinion. No, I don't want to do them again. Where do you think say one bring? No, I don't want them. That attitude is not a good one. Then from there, the ability to be teachable is very important because you learn where you don't know and you add value to where there is a gap. And that attitude, to me, once anybody has that, he or she will succeed, being teachable. The last aspect is hard work. Hard work matters. It really does. Spending less hours on distractions. Spending less hours. You cannot be able, look, no matter how intelligent you are, I speak as someone who understands and I know what intelligence means because I've been one before. Not bragging, but you are intelligent, so you know where it comes from. So you have to be very, very smart in terms of utilizing your time and read to understand everything so that when you speak from a position of knowledge. There is nothing as powerful as speaking from a position of knowing, because stupidity is when people try to talk about aspect they don't know and then end up talking about nothing. People say, hey, who be this now? No, nothing. So, and that takes time. There is up and then prepare. If you are going to talk to kindergartens today, prepare. Don't underestimate. One of them will ask you a question that if you think, oh, this kindergarten, where did they know? They know, no, nothing. No, prepare. And that takes time. That means you need to reduce hours of sleep, hours of leisure, and focus on hours of work. Work doesn't mean just office work, researching, thinking. Sometimes you sit, even in the house as you are eating, you are thinking, I'm rehearsing something, I'm talking tomorrow. What can I add extra? That needs dedication. Without dedication, consistency and persistency, and an attitude to learn and work, success will be a far-fetched. Because to succeed, people just think to succeed is to have a big house and a big car. No. Those things are materialistic things. To succeed is a consistent, persistent ability to do that which is right, to touch people's lives, because success is growth plus ethic, which is equal success. What is growth? You work hard, you make money, you can afford a car, you can do this. Ethics, how do you relate with people? Appreciative, respectful, teachable, loyal, humble. Now, all those things combined with touching people's lives, doing that, sacrificing to do something, not always for money, but just to touch and solve a problem. That equals success. Success is the ability to do that which is needed, combined with humility, dedication, and selflessness plus kindness. That gives you success. Excellent. I think your last word, Afu, and then we start going.
Yes, so as my father, Dr. Richard Munang, has said throughout this interview, our topics today were very various, including social media, time, African time to be specific, and now on the topic of passion. If you like what you see and you like what you hear, don't forget to follow Dr. Richard Munang on all platforms, including Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook. It's the same across all platforms, Dr. Richard Munang. And stay tuned and expect the unexpected, as these aren't scripted. We don't know what we're going to say till we get here. We just build off on what you comment. So don't be afraid to leave a comment, as that'll probably be our next topic. See you next time. We out.
Thank you very much, Afu, for being a wonderful co-host. You are amazing. I think you are an inspiration to the young girls out there. At 14, you have become not just an epitome of excellence, but breed knowledge like somebody who's having a PhD. What does this entail? It entails to be consistent, right? You've been consistent, absorbing guidance. And Mercedes, I have just written here saying, amazing, Afu, by all means, exercise hobbies, but priorities must be set right. Mentors help align these priorities to success. Amazing, timeless responses and guidance from Doctor. Thank you very much,
excellent
Mercedes.
contribution today, Marcel Desai. Your contributions were highly appreciated. And yes, exercise hobbies, whether that means joining, if you're into soccer, joining a soccer team, joining a basketball team, if you're into art, painting. However, the focus should be what can add value.
Absolutely. And so, for those of you who are listening in today, I hope you did enjoy the discussion. This is a free flow space. And if you want to come to the show, do not hesitate. Everybody who joined in today, and those of you who are watching online, from Natalie to Marcel Desai to Moo Michael to everybody from Nini Befi, who's watching from Minnesota, to
Natalie
Dan Wills, and everybody, Ambassador Michael, Brian, all of you who are watching in, you are part of the mentorship crew. We just give our best. We don't do this for anything in return. Me and Afu,
we don't
just
get
spend
paid
time.
to do this.
We're not paid to do this, and we don't need to be paid to do this. We're just playing our part in the community.
And we don't need sponsors.
What did you say?
We don't have sponsors. Nike, if you're watching this. Yeah, but we don't have sponsors.
It's part of our own innovative volunteerism, right? And giving back to society, just to make sure that at least we can develop a space where people start to know that they're important, right?
Exactly.
Absolutely.
And we have one last comment from Natalie Bachiri and from Marcel Desai. I'd like you to pull them up.
Yes, from Natalie says, read it.
You are so inspirational and do so many amazing things. I don't know if that's
Thank
a
you very
gratitude
much.
for you, but thank you. You're a real one.
Thank you very much. And then Marcel Desailly.
Growth plus ethics plus selflessness plus kindness equals success.
Absolutely.
Period.
And that is
Timeless.
now absolutely. Yeah. So so some people think that when you have a big car or you have a big house, then you're successful. No, you're not successful unless you start to touch people's lives. You start to be valuable. You start to cultivate ethical values, selflessness, kindness, touching other people. Then you are not successful, because success is lifting others from the bottom of the pyramid, doing that which touches their lives, and that's value and that's purpose. So that is it. So guys, thank you so much. When you hear it's weekend, then it's mentorship time. And we don't come here prepared with anything. We just flew with the flu. And so thank you.
Go with the
We're
flow.
finally, yeah, we just go, right? We don't come here with a lot of
I wake up in the morning, I get shouting, we're doing this, and then we just talk.
Absolutely. So that is it, guys. And now have a nice weekend and stay tuned. And we are going to leave you, yes, with these amazing.
Yo lo 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 lo, ye le 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 le. Yo lo 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 lo, ye le 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 le.
Let's embrace innovative volunteerism. Ah ouais, Eziko.
Rise up. You and me are the solution to these challenges. Oh yeah. Rise up. You and me are the solution to these challenges. Oh yeah.
Innovative and volunteerism, food security and youth unemployment, climate actions and selfless solutions. These are things that we need to engage for. When I lift up my eyes, I see people still living in affliction. Mothers and children go to bed without food on their table. Youth unemployment, the biggest statistic. From headlines every in Africa. Climate change impact us in everywhere, whether it's flood or drought, making millions helpless, my brother. This is an emergency that threatens the future, and we must address this together, Africa.
Why Africa doesn't come look way? From north to east Africa, west to south, Central Africa. Yeah. I can see the youth standing up, using their talents and skills to change challenges to opportunity, using the power of innovative volunteerism, which is their toll, your toll, my toll, ayo.
Volontaire innovant. Read more in a book, Making African Work Through Innovative Volunteerism by Dr. Richard Muna.
Watina kong mabombe pesu, watina kong mabombe shiu. Oh, I wish you believe me, yeah. Rise up. You and me are the solution to these challenges. Oh yeah. Rise up. You and me are the solution to these challenges. Oh yeah. Watina kong mabombe pesu, watina kong mabombe shiu. Oh, I wish you believe me, yeah.
Not do.
Hey, yo lo lo, yeah le. Yo lo, yeah le. So everywhere I look, anytime I see you, all these certificates in their hands, waiting for jobs. Now I remind them today. Now I remind them the time for blame them is over. Yeah. Let's use our talent to work. Yeah. Selflessly diversing solutions that will touch many lives, and let us do so.
Remembering the words of the scripture in the parable of the talent, knowing that the creator of heaven and earth are way to reward those who selflessly apply their talent to offer value to him by being useful to fellow man and to punish those who bury their talent. This is innovative volunteerism. It is for you to make a difference.
Okay on the mix.
Thank you all.